Hello guys, and welcome back to another video here on the Banjo Addict page. Thank you all so much for pushing that play button. I greatly appreciate it. Today I want to talk about if I was to start banjo today, knowing what I know now, what things would I do? Now we're going to forget about all the obvious things like finding a teacher, getting a good banjo, learning my chords, learning my rolls, all those things, all the obvious things. I'm going to leave out of this video, right? These are going to be more things, I guess you could call it a deep dive, more into a deep cut into this subject. And these are things that I've been thinking over the past couple of days of, some things I wish I'd have done when I started. So number one is I would have played more in public places, even if I'm practicing or if I'm learning a song and I want to go out and play it in public and learn it, and do it. I would have played more in public. I like going out to a local park or, to a local rec center or anywhere that you get out in public, that you're out, in public playing your banjo. Even if you're practicing. There's a little park here next to where I live at that I go to when I'm working on, say, trying to learn something, whatever it may be. I'll take my banjo up there and open up my case, pull my banjo out. There's a little park bench there. I try not to get like right on top of people when I'm doing it because I know that's aggravating. But just to get out, in a public place by yourself, the sun's shining down on you. I love it. There ain't nothing better in my mind to be outside playing the banjo, trying to learn something. And a lot of times people will come by and have interest, like will come by and want to talk to you about either playing the banjo or, what are you doing, what are you working on, or blah, 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 blah. And if you do know some songs or some music or whatever, a lot of times that's a good opportunity. If people have interest, they'll ask you to play something for them. So if you know a song at that point in time, you say, oh, well, I know this one thing, and then you can do it. There's a lot of encouragement. Anyways, now the next thing I would do would actually go along with the first thing, is I would have stood up and played with a banjo strap a lot more, standing up, walking around with a banjo strap on instead of sitting down all the time, playing music with sitting down like this. I would have gotten up a lot more and walked around or outside with a banjo strap on, like in a public place, and got myself used to playing that way a lot more. Especially if your plans are getting really serious with the banjo, maybe playing with a band or playing, for concerts or whatever. It's a must that you're going to have to learn to play standing up with the strap. So the faster you learn to do that, the better off you're going to be. I wish I'd have started that a lot sooner. All right, the third and final reason I wanted to make this video is the most important to me, because this took me so long to wrap my head around. I wish I'd have started it at the very beginning. I wish I'd have started it a week into playing banjo. Even though I didn't understand it, I would have dove head first into music theory for the banjo. I wish I'd started that a lot sooner than I did. It was kind of intimidating at first, and I think that's the way a lot of people are. It's intimidating to them. Music theory is like, oh my gosh, there's all this stuff, the circle of fifths and scales and chord shapes and chord progressions and all this stuff. But it's actually not that bad if you just study into it. And if you start early enough and start reading into it and get all the terminology, start getting the terminology swimming around in your head, not necessarily that you understand it or even know what it means, just to get that terminology rolling around in your head. And the more you study into it, you can start taking little pieces. It's like working a jigsaw puzzle. You start off with a couple pieces, you put them together and say, oh, I understand a C and a D and an F chord, and then you start adding in, oh, well, these are certain shapes that are work up and down the neck, or you work on scales, You understand from working on scales that you derive your chords from that scale. So a D chord derives from the D scale, per se. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that today. I'm not going to get into too much music theory on that, but I do plan on here after the first of the year putting out a series of videos on music theory and try to make it as simplified as I possibly can, so it's easy to understand and kind of give a roadmap. And see, that's when I started out. What I didn't have is there's no roadmap. Like you got to learn this to get to this, to get to this, to get to this, to get to this. It was all like kind of thrown together in one big conglomeration when I started, and it was overwhelming. If I could start on one small section of it and learn that, and then build upon that to this, and then build upon that to this, and then build upon that to this, it would have been a lot better on me. And that's what I'm working on getting done for early next year, is have a series of videos on music theory, starting with scales and then getting more into the more elaborate things later on. Alright, so if I was to start banjo today, those are the things that I would concentrate on. Alright, thank you all so much for pushing that play button. I greatly appreciate it. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider smashing that subscribe button, guys, because it helps out tremendously. With that being said, we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.